Guys, welcome back to World Illuminator 11, and if you are new to the channel, a really warm welcome to you. So a bit over a week ago, one of our soul sisters asked a question as a comment on one of the videos that I did, and the question was really to do with doing your inner work and healing. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video, because it's a very important part of your twin flame journey. And as we all know, it is a journey of the self. It's a journey of healing yourself. It's a spiritual path, a path of your spiritual awakening, to help you to be able to release all the things that have held you back. Things that have held you back, so that you can connect more to your true self, move into a higher consciousness, and really sort of connect to that light of your soul, so that you can shine even brighter and do the things that you are here to do in this lifetime. So, it is really about working on yourself, healing yourself, doing your inner work. That is what helps you to move forward on your journey. And as I said in a video that I did last week, this journey is about you moving forward as a divine feminine, because you as the spiritual twin are the one who leads the journey. So the more you're doing that work on yourself and moving forward in yourself, that is also going to help your divine masculine to move forward. You move, they move. That's the video that I did last week. And you move by doing that work within yourself, so that you can continue to keep moving forward. So that's what we're going to be talking about, and it's really powerful as well, because the video that I did, the message that I got today to do like a comment on, to do a post on the community page, was really, to do with you are your own hero. So, these things always then make sense why I get certain messages. It's because I had the plan to do this video today, and that's the message that came through. You are your own hero. And, it's about remembering that. And you are the hero that keeps moving forward, doing your inner work, doing your healing, working towards your goals, all the things that you do, focusing on yourself when it comes to your life on this journey. And in your life in general, you are your own hero. So, it's about you doing that work for yourself. And, and when we talk about healing on your twin flame journey, we're talking about healing the past. The healing things that have happened in the past. And this can be things to do with wounding, trauma, certain habits that you had that hold you back from being your true self or connecting with your true self, limiting beliefs, working through those insecurities. It's about working through those things, programming, healing those things, working through releasing those things, and fear, those things that hold you back. And then when we talk about inner work, we're talking about looking at your triggers. That's more about diving deeper into yourself, looking at the triggers that you have. They are related as well, I feel, but it's about looking at the triggers that you have and where those triggers come from. Because when you're triggered by something, it's saying something about you. So it's about looking at those triggers and, diving deeper into those things and actually having an awareness. It's all about awareness that, this thing affects me. And then you may start to dive deeper into it, and you may see that, let's say, jealousy is something that you've had, and, something happens or something used to happen with your divine masculine, and it will trigger that jealousy within you. But you'll find that it's something that actually related to something that happened even in your childhood. So it's about seeing those triggers. It's more about having the awareness when it comes to things that you may not be so proud of when it comes to yourself. Maybe even things that you've run away from facing for a very long time. Things that are sort of like your shadow side that you have to sort of dive deeper into, have that awareness that these are the things that are going on with you, and then you deal with them. You try to overcome those things so that you can be able to move forward, because they hold you back from being your true self, that divine being of love and the divine being of light that you are. So, those sort of negative emotions and the things that come up within that you have to work through, by doing your inner work to sort of get past that. So that's what we are going to be talking about. And it's a very important part of your journey to do your healing and your inner work. It is what helps you to be able to move forward. So the question was, I've written some stuff down, so I'll be referring to this so that I don't miss out things as well. So, the question was really about how can I do the inner work by myself without an inner work coach? And and if you are on your journey and you decided you wanted to get an inner work coach, then that is great. That's something that you can do for yourself. We all get our own guidance about what is right, or what is the best way. That's the best way to put it. What is the best way for you to move forward on your own journey? So you do what you feel is right for you, and or what is best for you as you work through the things that you need to work through. Some people may feel that to be able to dive deeper, they need someone else to help them through that. And that is your choice. That is totally fine. But for me personally, I feel that, and there's nothing wrong with getting your coach and, your inner work coach. But there are other people who cannot afford to get an inner work coach. They just feel that would like to do the work themselves. And, so that is okay too. It's about you having that desire to do the work for yourself. And what I will say to that is that you can do the inner work. You can do your healing by yourself. You don't need to have an inner work coach, but you have to have that willingness. You have to have that willingness in yourself to really move forward on your path. And you have to be kind of like dedicated to yourself, dedicated to your own healing, dedicated to moving forward, and then determined as well, because it's not an easy ride. You'll be diving deeper into facing parts of yourself that maybe you've ignored for such a long time, or you've kind of like just tried to push away, and or maybe you're not even aware of. And it's about you, sort of really sort of being determined to keep going, not giving up because it's too hard to look at, or, you can't face looking at those things about yourself. You have to have that determination to keep going. So it's something that you actually decide that I'm going to be my own hero here, and I am going to do this work, and I'm going to move forward. I'm bigger and stronger than these things that have held me back for such a long time, and I can do this. And you continue to keep moving forward. So it's really about you having that willingness, that determination to keep going no matter what you come across. And then be prepared to face parts of yourself that, that you've kind of shied away from, or, hidden from yourself. Really be prepared to face those things. And for me, for example, I did my work by myself. And I continue to do my work by myself, because the way I see it, it's an ongoing process. It's not something that you do and then you say, oh, I've done my healing, I'm okay now, and you you just live your life. It's something that you keep working on. And sometimes you may feel like, oh, I've got through this thing, and and this trigger that I used to have, and I've healed it, and I've dived deep into it, and then something happens and you find that it comes up again. So when that happens, it's actually showing you that you still need to work through even more of the things in relation to that. So it's something that is ongoing for you to keep working on. So it's about deciding to do it, and setting intentions as well. Decide to do that healing, or to do that inner work, and setting your intention that you are going to do this for yourself. And one of the most powerful things that you can do if you're doing this work by yourself is to speak to your angels. Your angels are always there to help you, and that's what I did. I really opened up to inviting my angels in, and I'd never really worked with angels before my awakening, and and I just kind of lived my life the way that I lived my life. But I really sort of opened up, and I asked for help, and through prayer, through speaking to the angels, and I asked for help with everything, for them to show me some of the things that I needed to work through. And and it was all by giving myself time to myself. And in a way as well, I feel like things were sort of created in such a way that I would have that time to do those things, because my awakening actually started probably in 2019, but when I really sort of started to realize that this is what is happening and I'm really going through an awakening, it was actually in January when I actually started to make the effort, you know, to look into things, to work on things for myself. It was in January. And then in March 2020, and then in March, we had the whole COVID thing. So, you know, I was suddenly left by myself in my flat because the person who used to rent the room also left, you know, because they lost their job. They had to leave. And I suddenly was left by myself in like solitude, and I had to face myself. So I had to work through those things. So I had about 2 years of really just being by myself and really sort of working through things. And I did my work by myself, and I continue to do that. You know, I've had people will sort of help me every now and again, maybe do like a soul reading, you know, all those kind of things where I feel like I may need help. I will get some help. But most of the stuff when it comes to doing the inner work, you know, facing things about myself, I really did that by myself. So you can do it by yourself. You have to have that dedication. You also have to be in a place in which you are, like I said, willing to face certain things about yourself and be honest with yourself, you know, and really sort of be honest with yourself. Take responsibility as well for some of the things that you actually did in your life, or, you know, things that you know you may not be so proud of, and you know, and really just sort of face those things. And you know, writing things down is a really important part as well. You may want to write things down about, you know, some of the things that come up for you when it comes to your triggers. You know, really sort of look at certain situations that have happened in your life, and you know, and dive deeper into those things and see what it was showing about you, you know. So that's the sort of thing that you can do by yourself. And your intention, when you're setting an intention for your healing or thinking about working on your healing, your intention has to be you, you know, because what I did at the beginning when I started learning about this whole twin flame journey, and that, you know, you can do healing and then you come into union with your divine masculine. When I started, my intention was, I'm doing this so that I can get to union. And then, but you have to know that you have to really change your intention. You have to revisit that intention. If that is why you're doing your healing on your journey, you really have to change that. You know, revisit that and put yourself as the reason. You know, when I realized that, and I was like, why am I doing this? I'm doing this for me. I want to grow. I want to release all these things that have held me back all my life. You know, I want to move forward on my path, to connect more with my true self, you know, to step more into my power. I'm doing this for me. This healing is for me. This inner work is for me. So really check in with your intention for the things that you are doing when it comes to your path. Everything has to be about you, because like I said, you are your own hero. So that's the message that's also coming through. And you know, and if you're doing your journey for your divine masculine, or for so that your twin flame journey can move forward, then really change that, you know. And your intention needs to be about you, to be about your growth, about your path, about, you know, moving forward and shining your light even brighter. So always bring it to you. So when it comes to inner work, it's really about identifying the triggers that you have, you know, the things that sort of come up for you. And I'll use the example of jealousy because I had that, you know, and it was a big thing for me, even though I didn't realize, you know, before my awakening that it was. But it didn't come out all the time, but when it did come out, it did come out. And you know, and it was, having to face that was quite a difficult thing for me, because you know, before I used to drink as well, and you know, when I did drink, that's when sometimes that would come out. And it was something that I had hidden away deep inside of me, you know, so that it only came out at certain times, because you know, throughout every a huge part of my life, I had hidden that away. So I had to dive into that and really be, or face it, you know, face to face, and be like, okay, so this is me, and think about some of the situations in which I did that. And and it wasn't easy. And then realizing, so this is what happened. And then I would try and think about, why is it that I used to do this? Where did it come from? Because it's not something that I felt, in my daily life. I was fine. I was living my life. I was doing okay. But where did it come from when that trigger of that stuff always came out at the times that it did? It was like really buried deep inside of me. And as I sort of worked through this, and the other thing to remember when you're doing your inner work or your healing, it's not something that you got to push and I've got to do it by this day and get it done. Take your time. Sometimes you may work on it and pull back and and go back again and pull back. It's taking your time. There's no need to rush. There is no sort of destination to get to, or you have to do it in a certain time. Just take your time, be there for yourself. So I then started to try and see where it really came from, and it took me a while to be able to come back to understand where it came from. But then I managed to tie it down back to when I was still a little kid, and it was actually realizing that that which was a really strange scenario that happened. And I'm not going to get into all that, but it was a really strange scenario that happened that resulted in me having that jealousy. And the moment I had that awareness, it's about having that awareness that is where it came from. But because I was so young, I buried it deep inside of me and I didn't show it. So it didn't come out all the time, but when it did, it wasn't pretty, So it's really about going back and diving deeper into yourself and really sort of seeing where those things come from, and also being compassionate and loving towards yourself. Whilst you're doing your inner work, you have to have that love and compassion towards yourself. So it's about that awareness, seeing where those triggers and, what blocks you have, within yourself. And and trying to work through that, to deal with that, to work through it. But self-awareness is the biggest thing, and you do it from a place of being honest with yourself. You really have to face those parts of yourself that you're not so proud of. And and you really have to be honest with yourself. Take responsibility for that. And and sometimes some of the things that happened, you like, but that happened in my childhood, like abuse or whatever that happened. How can I take responsibility for that? It wasn't my fault. These things happened to me from other people, and that is true. Yes, but you then take responsibility of your own healing. That happened, yes, and it is in your life. You've been holding on to it for such a long time. What you then take responsibility for is your own healing, doing your own inner work. So that's the message that's really coming through. So it's about really being honest with yourself and, and facing every part of yourself and continuing to move forward. And then, it's also really important to start to change your thoughts. As you're working through these things, see where you have these negative thoughts. You're always thinking negatively. I had certain limiting beliefs about certain things in my life, and I had to start to reprogram myself. Reprogram my mind, and through sort of affirmations, repeating certain things, and really sort of changing that sort of programming that I had when it comes to those limiting beliefs. Actually realizing that these are just limiting beliefs, things that I've learned from society, from family, from other people, and I have to change those things around because they're not true. And you have to really work through those things, but you have to start by changing your perception as well, and you have to work on loving yourself. That's a big part of you doing your inner work and your healing. You have to have that love for yourself. So to be able to have that, another part as well, that of doing the work on yourself is forgiveness. There are so many things that you will see yourself as having done, or things that happened in your life that you have to forgive. And if you're holding on to those things, for dear life for a very long time, you find it difficult to work on self-love, because those things are still there and they are kind of blocking you. So you have to work on releasing those blocks, whatever they may be. And forgiveness is a big part of it. So forgive yourself for whatever it is that has happened. It was there for you to learn certain things, to grow within yourself. So you have to work through forgiveness. And I've talked about this before. One of the ways of working with forgiveness, one of the things that I did, I wrote letters. I wrote letters to myself. I wrote letters to my mom, to my dad. I wrote letters, to my divine masculine. And sometimes I wrote even replies from them to myself. I didn't send any letters to anyone, but I wrote replies from them to myself about how I would want them, what I would have wanted them to say, how, things that they, I would have wanted them to say, so that I would understand things better, or, whatever it was. So I wrote those back, and I cried through it. I cried writing the letters to myself about the things that I had done, and, saying to myself, I was just doing this, I didn't understand, and all these things, but that was all part of the releasing. So you have to do that. And so, like I said, you can get letters, write letters back from them as well. It can be a letter of apology. It can be a letter of, saying that, them saying to you, you write it though, that, I wish I could have done things differently, whatever it is. But you write that. And then when you have gone through it, you may have to write several letters to the same person or to yourself. You may have to tackle just one issue at a time, whatever it is, but do that. And then as you are going through that writing process is actually a way of you releasing. The crying process is a way of you working through healing things. And then you burn those letters. Just burn them in a safe place, just make sure you're not, going to cause a fire in your house or anything like that. So burn them in the sink, or, somewhere that is safe. And and you give it, as you burn it, you speak to the universe, to God, and you say, I am releasing this now. It's been with me for a very long time and I am letting it go. So you work through forgiveness. The other thing that you can also do is the Ho'oponopono prayer. I have put that on, but if you don't know it, you can look it up online, on YouTube. You will find that, and it's a way of forgiveness, of forgiving yourself, or forgiving other people as well. And so forgiveness is a really big part of it. And then, changing your perception, changing your thoughts about yourself, about the situation, and really work on thinking positive thoughts, because we're so programmed to, all our lives to be in that place of complaining, to be in a place of, things are not going to go well for me. There's all these things. You have to change. They are all limiting beliefs. You have to start changing your thinking and really catch yourself when you are having those negative thoughts, turn them round into positive thoughts. So it's really about working through those things, and you constantly observe yourself. As you move forward on your path, you're constantly observing yourself, seeing what it is that's going on with you, catching those negative thoughts when they come in, seeing in your day-to-day life, the way that you're acting, the way that you're responding to other people, I have a review at the end of my day to just really see how I interacted with people. And these days, much more than I ever used to this, there'll be things that annoy me, and then I'll be like, but at the end of the day, if that were to happen now, I would look at it, and I'm not looking at it from the other person's side, I'm looking at it from my side. What is it showing me about me? So constantly observe yourself. And then, revisit those triggers and, and work through them, deal with them. You have to work through overcoming them. And some of the things that you can do that will help you to sort of end this: meditation helps. work, meditate, and it helps you to calm your mind. It helps you to, then as you have that calm mind, you can be able to dive deeper to see what those things are. Contemplate, write things down, look at situations that have happened in your life. Make time for reflection when it comes to your life, to really think about things. Going out for a walk is a good way to think about things, be in the present moment, really make time for reflecting on life. And your angels will also help you to give you those messages of things that you need to heal and work on those things. And then, and as I said before, have that love and compassion towards yourself. When you're working through the difficult things, always be coming through from a place of love, having that compassion towards yourself. And make time for doing the work. Like I said, I had the 2 years. Really make it like an intention and something that you actually do for yourself. And then take responsibilities for the things that you did, rather than always looking at it from either a victim point of view or, this person did that to me. And just really sort of take responsibility of your part in the situation as well. And if it's something that happened, for example, in your childhood, like I said, abuse, for a sexual abuse or whatever, where it wasn't, it was another person, then now take responsibility for your own healing. It happened. Now you have to work on your healing. So take responsibility for that. And it's about letting go of playing a victim all your life. And I did that for a very long time. I was a victim of the abuse that happened in my childhood. I was a victim of all these things that I carried in my life. And it was kind of like eating away at me, and it wasn't helping me to move forward. But when I started to get out of that victim mentality, that this sort of thing that I carried, this happened to me, and actually started taking ownership of my life and saying to myself, I am now taking responsibility for my own healing, and working on myself and releasing this thing that is sort of taken over me for a very long time, then I started changing things for myself. So really make time for you. Be a constant observer of the self. Do your affirmations, positive affirmations, and change your perception. Really start to see things in a positive way. And where you find yourself, thinking negative thoughts, change them around to positive thoughts. And love yourself. Be there for yourself. And and then, like I said before, take your time. There is no need to rush. This is an ongoing process. So as you're doing the work, just keep coming back to it, and keep going. And the time of solitude that you may have in your life, during this time that you are in separation from your divine masculine, is given to you for a reason. It's there to help you to do this work. So do the work, and you can do it by yourself, but be patient with yourself. Be loving towards yourself. Look up things that can help you, videos that can help you on YouTube. I did that. I'd never done inner work by myself, and I didn't even know what it was about, but I was determined. And because of that, I found resources, and I found ways and videos, and, and also help from the angels to help me through that. So you can do it. It's the message that I'm bringing to you today. And I really hope that helps someone. It's a very important part of your journey. So work on your healing, do your inner work, and be the constant observer of yourself, because it is you moving forward that really helps you to be that hero of your life. And that's going to help as well when it comes to your twin flame journey. So I hope you have a great day, guys. Sending you all so much love.